Loneliness is a really significant issue that we're facing, that people are facing, humanity is facing. Loneliness is simply the state of feeling alone, disconnected, unseen, unheard, unloved, invisible. The issue with loneliness and why it is such a pervasive issue in our community is because it doesn't affect one demographic. Anyone at any time can go through a period of intense loneliness because of the situations or circumstances that they find themselves in.
It was 2020 and it was COVID time. And it was a difficult time. I couldn't get a job. I was struggling for money and all of that. They were giving away groceries. They got like some flyers in the university I was studying. And I went there and I met Irene at the time. She invited me to church. I remember that the first thing that crossed my mind, I went, why are these people so happy? What's wrong with them? I couldn't go back because I had some other struggles. I was financially struggling and I didn't have a car, so it was not easy for me to get around places. But then Karen called me one day out of the blue. She called me, we had a coffee one day. Then she invited me to church again and I started, going again. Little by little connecting with different people. When you go across the world as I did, and you might speak the language and you might want to know people, but you can't get that closeness or safe relationship with everyone. It has to be like special community of very special people for you to actually get connected and feel safe, that you can actually speak with people about your life and what you've done and what are your expectations, how do you feel, can you pray for me, can I cry in front of you, things like that might sound very simple, but they are very important in life. So I guess I had that feeling at church.
Originally, we're from Texas. We immigrated in 2016.
Over the last 7 years in Australia, it certainly hasn't been easy. I think people, their automatic assumption is because we've got each other, because we've got two kids, we're not lonely. And we've certainly experienced a significant amount of loneliness, especially over the last couple of years in COVID in Melbourne. We didn't even have a year in a new city and hadn't really established all too many friends, and we found ourselves in lockdown. We have really clung to He Puts the Lonely in Families because He has given us an incredible family. God's certainly given us people that we love so much here.
That's the other thing is that ability to be genuine and to be real and to know that we don't have it all together. And the sooner that we can admit to that, the sooner that we can have healing, the sooner that we can find that community. If you're not leaning on them, you're doing it alone, but unnecessarily. We're created to be in community with God and to be in community with one another.
From a young age, I think I understood what it meant to be lonely. I remember a high school counsellor saying that's something that you need to get used to. I hit a crisis point that was a breakdown of my family, a marriage, child together. I thought I'd had breakdowns and crises before, but this was of epic proportions where, I was staring into the abyss and it stared back into me. was the darkest place that I've ever been. I knew that if I didn't sleep, I was pretty much going to go insane. So I was listening to these space sea music, affirmations, how to get over conflict and things like that. One day, I woke up with a spring in my step, I jumped out of bed, and I was ready to attack life after months of just depressive misery. I'm looking through my YouTube history of the affirmations that I was listening to, and the playlist had just linked me to all of these kind of stuff that you can relax to, but it was all full of biblical scriptures. Then when I looked at the scriptures, they started speaking to me, and it was the book of Psalms that reached down into that pit of despair that I was in. I found myself on the steps of Edge Church Ranella because it was one that I've driven past, I've seen, and I saw that it was a Bible-based church. And somehow I walked in there one Sunday and I met somebody there who just talked to me and then prayed for me in a way that I've never experienced any kind of, just in a simple prayer, I had heard words that I hadn't heard from any support anywhere ever.
We came here from Italy in 1969. I left school when I was 16 and just on the streets, stealing, doing whatever, taking whatever I wanted to take. I'd leave the house in the morning, come back at night. I came to be known as the Angry Man. I never saw it, but other people did. I never thought about God. I never didn't think about faith. I was just existing. Ivanka was diagnosed with cancer in 2014, and she'd gone through the treatment, which lasted a lot of months. And in 2015, she returned to church. And one day, she just came home and said, "I'm just tired," and they're running around. "Will you come to church?" And I just said yes. I don't know why. I just said yes. I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to listen to any messages. And then one day I heard Pastor Andrew say that he loved you. So he loved Jesus. And I just couldn't understand that. How can you love something you can't see? You don't know if it's real. And I wanted to listen. He prayed, and I said some words, and I just felt this peace hit me. And I felt the love of God. I felt it. I felt this love and this peace that I just didn't understand. The following year, Ivanka was, her cancer had returned really aggressively, and that was hard. That was really hard. She fought really hard, and she ended up passing away in 2019, just before Mother's Day. So it was hard. It was tough. It was really hard. But Jonathan used to talk about this as a family, and it is. Everyone just helped. And was there for me, the girls. They all helped with food when they listened, when they'd have us over for dinner and stuff. And it's a family. It really is a family. And I felt it. And my girls felt it too. The years since she's gone have been hard. But God, He's there. And he's carried me through.
The basic core of us as human beings need to be seen, heard, loved, valued. We can create that in all of the interactions that we have. A smile, a wave, some generosity, love, care, concern, compassion. We can do that wherever we are, whatever situation we're in. We can always look beyond the circumstances and see the person. People want to be seen. They don't want to be invisible. God's design was to put people in family. And if we begin to believe that we're part of a family, that we have a contribution, that changes everything. We can't solve all the issues that people have, but we can help them feel accepted and help them begin to feel their worth and value as human beings.